could at least go, oh, we're ducking here. All of us are ducking because the gunshots are blazing and we don't know what to do.
But can I ask a question? If gunshots are blazing, why are residents outside their homes?
Because the problem is these bullets are stray. They're going through houses. You can't stay in the house. Bullet-riddled homes, windows. Persons feel safe being outside because they're able to even duck behind a stone. That is how terrible it is. They don't feel safe in their houses because this is not the safest place for them.
I want you to explain something for me. When they say bombs, I mean, what I have in my head as a bomb, I want us to be very specific. When you say bombs, did you witness bombs being...
Okay, let me tell you what they mean by bombs. If for some residents, they're talking about the grenades. And then there are other persons who are talking about, there's a particular gun, I can't really describe it to you, that actually shoot a particular bullet that comes off as a bomb.
What is happening? What is happening at this point right there?
Gunshots, and all of us, this is where the old man got shot, and some of the residents nearby tried to put him in this vehicle. He was coming towards us. And you're going to see now that we're trying to take him out of this vehicle to get him into another vehicle because of what is happening. He's a senior citizen, and based on what I saw, observations, it looked like he was shot in the stomach in that area. So
in that area, Delano, who is firing the gunshots?
It is between the gunmen and the soldiers. And I just want to let people know it is not the soldiers on the ground, that what we referred to as snipers.
Okay.
So we had to be moving right now. If you watch, I think this picture.
So at this point, the old man who was shot, we do not know by whom.
Right.
Oh goodness, he is being taken into another car, hopefully to be transported to the Kingston Public Hospital.
Right.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry we couldn't get any audio from what is being said on the ground. So yes, Delano, right. So at this point now, the gunshots are continuing. Continuing,
and we're ducking. We're doing everything that we can to assure even the drivers that they need to leave now. They need to leave now. And that is the case. If you see behind the background, you see the smoke.
We can see the smoke, right.
That is, maybe in Jamaican terms, terror. That is what we would describe as terror. Not shortly after that, the gun started.
All right, so you're saying that in this particular area, residents, they feel safer outside as opposed to their homes because the bombs are being thrown.
It's not only bombs, it's sporadic gunshots. And they're afraid that if they're in their houses, those bullets will catch them in their houses. Okay,
take us through this area. Where is this now?
We're still in Mexico. Well, as what everybody say, right beside TIVOLI.
Right. And these residents that we see here, they don't seem very pleased about what's happening.
No, everyone is, it's too wild. It is too dramatic. Everyone, this is, just initially, this is what has happened when he got shot. If they continue rolling the footage, we'll see that we had to tear off his merino. And my cameraman had to tie it on his arm to hold on it. That's the lady tearing it off. And then
so where is he running to? He was running to a car?
We had to run away from the bullet.
Okay.
We're actually in a corner of the community where the snipers and the gunmen would not have been able to shoot at us.
Okay. Did you see, was there any indication that there were lawmen from overseas? Do you get a sense that it is just members of the Jamaica Defense Force and the Jamaica Constabulary Force part of this operation?
At this point in time, I can't say if the U.S. is a part of it because where we were, we're not able to see who.
Okay. All right. Well, just wrap up one more time. You were in Mexico.
Right. That is a little community near to TIVOLI. It's between Jungle and Remo, near to TIVOLI Gardens. So that was happening just a couple minutes ago.
All right. Thank you very much, Deluna Fleming. Good job. Now, as the police and military moved into some of the communities, they were met with great resistance by some residents in Tower Street downtown. The residents argue that the lawmen were not needed in the area because it had been relatively calm. They were actually saying that where the lawmen needed to be nearer to West Kingston, where the gunshots were being fired, they didn't see a need for the lawmen to be in their area. Let's hear what they had to say.
This can't work, not because we are all citizens and I have all right. Them just come and run me off the sidewalk and I go on bad. But I know we don't go with so I do those.
All right, now in addition to the residents who are affected by the unrest, the homeless too have been uneasy. Many of them had converged outside the post office in downtown Kingston this morning appealing for food. There's no way to get the food to them. Let's hear what one of them had to say.
Majority of the people that give us food is like Stella Morris and certain places. You have certain people like in the ghetto area, or the same place out of West Kingston. You have people that's drive and boil all them porridge and cook all the rice can come give and so them people they can't do it. Normal ghetto people cannot do it.
Now, even as we spoke to the homeless, the gunshots blazed in downtown Kingston, but they didn't seem very much perturbed about what was happening. Now, at least 4 wholesales were looted in downtown Kingston. We spoke to an owner who expressed concern about the lack of police presence along Princess Street and Parade in downtown.
But him couldn't go in because the men, a whole heap of men inside with high-power weapons emptying the shop. This was about after 11. And we were here while Atlas was exchanging a gun buckle here, and they were blocking there. So we couldn't even go around there with afraid. I would call King till them eventually come and then buck up on the next team out there, so, and then them say them will risk it. And Atlas join up with them and assist them. And it's not even their location. And they assist them and in the gun buckle too. And even bullet pass in our heads.
All right, now we've been getting a lot of reports about casualties, and because of the blockades, there is some difficulty getting to the Kingston Public Hospital. We're now joined by Littleton Shirley of the South Regional Health Authority, I believe. Littleton Shirley, good afternoon.
Very pleasant good afternoon to you.
Okay, can you give us an idea as to what is the situation, especially at the Kingston Public Hospital?
It's a very chaotic situation, as you can imagine. One thing for sure is that we are not allowing our staff to be put in any danger at this point. Those who are on the compound are remaining on the compound because we have difficulty transporting our staff.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now go ahead.
And in light of that, we have to be not accepting only emergency surgeries cases we are dealing with.
Mm-hmm. Only emergencies situations you're dealing with. Now, can you give us an idea as to whether or not you've been getting persons who've been injured, gunshot victims? Can you give us an idea as to what is happening?
Yes, we've been getting patients coming in, and we've been dealing with them. The clinical staff are there addressing all matters. Mm-hmm. We are not in a problem. We are dealing with staff who can access the hospital. The major issue is getting to the hospital.
Right.
And that's a concern both for patients and also a concern for our staff.
All right, getting to the hospital is an issue. Do you have sufficient staff? What is the situation with that?
We have minimal staff that is presently at the hospital, and they have been coping very well with the situation. Of course, on the adverse situation, that because periodically there are gunshots being fired onto the building.
Mr. Shirley, I don't mean to cut you, but we're hearing that gunfire is now being heard in that vicinity of the Kingston Public Hospital.
Yes, that's a fact.
Our reporter, Kalila Enriquez, she is actually live on location. She's online. We want to link with her. Kalila, what can you tell me?
And once again, Jamaica, and good afternoon to those of you there in the studio at CVM TV and simulcasting on Hot 102 FM. I'm Kalila Enriquez, and I'm reporting live now from the Unrest Gardens area. Now, what you're seeing behind me is a barrage of gun smoke, and not only gun smoke, but thick, heavy black smoke emerging from the area of TIVOLI Gardens, quite possibly Denham Town. Now, residents in the area here tell me that they have been hearing heavy explosions since early this morning. Our best information so far is, from reliable sources, is that an armed airstrike has begun on the TIVOLI area. Now, earlier also, our news team came under a barrage of gunfire. We had to duck for cover. People in this area also had to duck for cover, giving you a sense of the hostility in this area. Now, we've also received reports that there are at least 15 people dead inside TIVOLI Gardens. Residents here at Unrest Gardens say that 3 have died in this area since morning. Now, and you can hear the gunshots behind me again. It's been going on consistently since morning, or at least since yesterday. Now, traveling around town, on our way here to Unrest Gardens, we see students in uniform, we see police patrolling with their guns extended through the windows, and we see deserted streets, and it's quite a scene here all over Kingston City this evening, this afternoon. Now, I'm Kalila Enriquez, and we'll be having some more images from around town throughout the day, reporting live from Unrest Gardens.
All right, thank you very much, Kalila. Mr. Shirley, are you still with me?
I'm still with you.
Okay, we're just getting a statement from the Medical Association, Jamaica Medical Doctors Association, and they have expressed concern that they're not satisfied that the arrangements have been made to guarantee member safety. Your reaction to this, sir?
There is some element of truth to that, because in a crisis like this, it's very difficult to guarantee safety when the police themselves are a target of attack. So it is very challenging, and a concern that we share with the Medical Association, who were in a meeting with us. And what we have said is that unless proper security can be given and secure the doctor accessing the hospital, then they should stay off from coming down there and be available for other locations, where we will be setting up a network to transfer emergency cases to other locations.
Is it a situation, sir, where you will need to boost your security in terms of getting like private security companies to boost the complement that you already have down there?
Yeah, that's the on the compound is not a problem, you know. Where the KPA compound is flooded with security as we speak, is having access through to KPAs that we're having a challenge with.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Shirley, and we're definitely going to be continue monitoring the situation at the Kingston Public Hospital. And I just want to read to our viewers what the statement from the Medical Association. They have also taken precautionary measures. The president of the Jamaica Medical Doctors Association has sent out a message to its members. The association says that after lengthy discussions with the Ministry of Health, they are not satisfied that security arrangements have been made to guarantee member safety. As a result, they have taken the following position. All doctors who are currently within the walls of the various institutions in volatile areas are to stay there. Members who are at home are to remain there or at another safe location. The Medical Doctors Association says senior medical officers, SMOs of the Kingston Public Hospital, the Victoria Jubilee Hospital and the Spanish Town Hospital, as well as the Bustamante Hospital for Children. Now, Andrew Cannon was in Rema earlier today, where there was it was pretty tense over there after a crossfire with gunmen and the police military joint operation. 2 persons were shot and injured in that incident. Their conditions are not yet known, and I believe we have Andrew live on the telephone. Andrew, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, Janella. Good afternoon to the viewers of CVM and the listeners of Hot 102. Well, you are indeed correct. Earlier today in the Unrest Gardens area, there was some kind of shooting incident, and based on what we did observe, it appeared as if it was as a result of some kind of crossfire, as police and gunmen appear to have been trading bullets. No, it was like a war zone inside the area when we ventured there, because quite a number of residents scampered for cover. Quite a number of residents scampered for cover as the shot rang out in the air, and you know, with these communities, you are not sure from which direction the shots are coming. So at one point we heard loud explosions, very, very loud explosions, and then after that we heard like rifles being fired, and in the aftermath of that, 2 persons were shot. We did observe, it appeared that a bullet actually went through somebody's belly and came out through his back, and he was bleeding heavily, and he was hurriedly thrown into a car, one of those station wagons, and he was rushed to the hospital. While the other incident, now we did see, it would appear that it was the person's mother who was in the front. She was crying, she was very sad, she was distraught, and behind her was the young man who had gotten shot, and he had gotten shot some distance away from us. So the situation earlier, it was quite tense. Right now it is still tense, but residents have now come out of their homes and they are looking as to what's happening in TIVOLI Gardens, and in the distance we could see, and we're still seeing, large billows of black smoke, and we are getting unconfirmed reports from certain persons that what appears to have been bombs, you know, or something to that effect have been dropped in the area. Right now we are in the crossroads area, and the police are manning the streets. Quite a number of them are out in their numbers, and from time to time we do see them stopping persons and searching them, especially young men. So persons, they should know that a state of emergency is on, but apparently a number of persons are still on the street, and from time to time a number of police officers, you know, in the crossroads area, they drive up and they stop and they search men. Those searches seem to be cooperative. The young men are saying they are not involved in anything illegal, and the police duly search them and they send them on their way. As we traverse the city, most of the places where we ventured, there's little or no person on the road compared to this morning. This morning, quite a number of persons were out, but right now we're not seeing we are not seeing persons per se on the street, just a few onlookers. And my videographer is pointing to the smoke that is still coming from a section of West Kingston. We cannot see the source of the smoke. All we know is that we have been getting calls from persons telling us that what appears to have been some kind of bomb has been dropped. When we ventured to Marcus Garvey Drive, we wanted to go closer to TIVOLI Gardens to see what was happening, but a number of police officers and soldiers were telling us, do not venture any closer, do not go near the area, because the situation is quite volatile, it's quite tense, and we were turned back. So therefore we can't go too far into TIVOLI Gardens, even though we've tried. So as we continue to monitor the situation, sections of Kingston and St. Andrew are still tense, and based on what we're understanding, some kind of operation could be underway in TIVOLI Gardens. We are still seeing the helicopter hovering around, and we're still seeing billows of black smoke. Janelle, back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Andrew Cannon, there, giving us a very extensive report. Now, Air Jamaica has announced the cancellation of 3 of its flights for today, Monday, May 24, due to the unrest in Kingston. JM 037, scheduled to depart Kingston at 5:35 p.m. for Fort Lauderdale, has been cancelled. JM 036, scheduled to depart Fort Lauderdale at 9:25 p.m. for Kingston, and JM 17, scheduled to depart Kingston at 7:25 p.m. for New York. They've both been cancelled. Passengers who were scheduled for those flights are being asked to contact the reservations center by calling 1-888-FLY-AIR-J. That's 1-888-359-2475 for updates and to revise their itineraries. Updates will also be available via CVM as soon as they become available and on the Air Jamaica website at www.airjamaica.com. And operations are, however, continuing as scheduled at the Sangster International Airport in Montego Bay. Now, Wayne Walker, he has been monitoring the developments at the Norman Manley International Airport, and we join him live on the telephone. Wayne, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, Janella.
What can you tell us?
Well, all the major airlines have had some cancellation of a sort during the course of today. In the case of American Airlines, they have a cancellation coming in as well as going out. Air Jamaica's last two flights out, 017, 037, both to Fort Lauderdale, scheduled for different times in the afternoon, heading into the evening. Those have been cancelled. British Airways, they have diverted their departure from Kingston into Montego Bay, effectively cancelling the Kingston leg of it. Air Canada didn't have a flight out today, and Spirit Airlines, they also have two cancellations. One or two of the departing passengers have expressed, their disappointment at not being, one, informed early enough, and upon getting to the airport, the airlines have no way of assisting them. Most of those who can't get out tonight are telling me that the latest they can get out tomorrow morning, some 7, some 6. In fact, there was also a late one at 12 o'clock. But the problem is that the passengers that we spoke with, most of them are from out of town, and they're having difficulties, getting back where they're coming from, and then who knows what, tomorrow morning holds as far as them getting back into Kingston and then to the airport is a concern. So the event in Western Kingston and its surroundings are really having a tremendous impact on even the airline industry.
Let's talk about getting to the airport, Wayne. Which roads are blocked? Can you give us an idea as to the safest routes to get to the airport or to get from the airport to another location?
Well, because of what happened overnight on Mountain View Avenue, you would understand people really don't want to risk going there. And in fact, the security forces are urging people, to stay away from Mountain View as best as possible. The route that you normally use down South Camp Road and, back to the General Penitentiary along that, Sir Floridel Glasspool Highway, you can't use that either, because right at the intersection of East Queen Street and South Camp Road, there's a blockade there put up by the Army, and they're diverting the traffic down through Manley Meadows. So you can still use the Sir Floridel Glasspool Highway, but you're not going to be able to, get through it using South Camp Road. It's through Manley Meadows. Outside of that, we didn't have any problems getting, down to the airport. In fact, down to that point and eventually to the airport. So just right there is a slight problem. But if you decide before heading there to turn down to Ellison Road and then onto Manley Meadows, then you'd be okay.
Okay. Have you been able to speak to any of the authorities at the Norman Manley International Airport? Do you get an idea as to what?
No. Well, we were trying to get in touch with an Air Jamaica official or officials, and we were told by the two staff members that I ran into that they all left, and the flight crews that were down to do the last two flights this evening, they were not there and will not be there for today. They're pretty much, closed down and heading home. The same with American Airlines and British Airways. They were loading at the time when we were there, so one or two of them were there and didn't want to talk. They were just, willing to tell us that this is their last flight out, and the one that was scheduled for later tonight will not go out. Mm-hmm. We haven't gotten anything official from the management of the respective airlines, but we've spoken with staff members, low staff members, and this information, and we've been talking to the people who are scheduled to go out.
All right, thank you very much, Wayne Walker.
We did manage to have a chat as well with one or two of the arriving passengers.
Right.
And they were giving us, their tale of what's happening as far as news coming out of Jamaica and how it's impacting on the Jamaicans in Florida and because those are the people that we spoke with. Mm-hmm. But you'll hear a lot more from them in later on in the newscast.
I thank you so much, Wayne Walker. He has taken off his sports hat to do some news stuff for us today. And continuing with our update, the meeting scheduled between Christopher Coke's legal team and the United States Chargé d'Affaires Isaiah Parnell was cancelled. The meeting was scheduled to be held at the U.S. Embassy at 10 o'clock today. Security personnel at the embassy informed our news team about the cancellation. CVM News understands that the 10 o'clock meeting was initiated by Mr. Parnell. Coke's legal team has said the option is being explored and what they were considering all available options. The lawyers said another option being explored was that Coke could still go before the courts in Jamaica to continue a process which his lawyers have already started. And the Ministry of National Security is contradicting statements made by former Police Commissioner Rear Admiral Hardy Lewin on the evidence given to the U.S. on TIVOLI strongman Christopher Dudus Coke by a police officer. The former top cop had reported that the constable was merely following orders when he supplied information to the U.S. However, the Security Ministry said, quote, "Not even the highest echelons of the police force can issue such authorization," unquote. The ministry added that the former commissioner is contemptuous of the fact that if information is to be used as evidence, the law states that authorization should be obtained from a judge of the Supreme Court. Now, many notable Jamaicans, both at home and abroad, have been calling our newsroom wanting to sound off on the situation that has been unfolding on our shores. We spoke with reggae music icon Bunny Wailer from the famed Bob Marley and the Wailers earlier today. Let's take a listen.
Well, the solution is for the responsible people to come to the table and face up with the things that they have done leading up to this. Because if we look at it as a narrow scope, we might just be doing exactly what these people have set us up to do. So I think there should be, instead of what they call it now, this curfew that is happening for certain areas, I think it should be a curfew on all responsible people that are the so-called politicians, so that they can come to the table and announce the things that are appropriate for the people of Jamaica, so that we can understand ourselves and not be doing what we are aiming to do. And I am saying that the army and the police, as they are the security of the nation, have the right in the protection and defense of this nation's security to put these people under some kind of a hold pending investigation into all activities leading up to where we're heading right now.
All right, now, thank you. That was reggae icon Bunny Wailer speaking to us here earlier today. Now, we're joined on the telephone by attorney at law representing Christopher Dudus Coke, Don Foote. Good afternoon, Mr. Foote.
How are you? Good afternoon.
I'm doing good, Mr. Foote. The meeting today was cancelled?
Yes, it was.
Can you just give us some information as to what the legal team is doing now in going forward?
Well, tomorrow is a working day, and as soon as I get into Kingston, I'll be speaking audience with the Chief Justice to see what can be done. Remember, we have a matter that is pending before the court. Only that it is set for the 31st. So in light of all this development, one of the possibilities is to see whether or not the hearing could be brought forward. That's a possibility.
Okay, so Mr. Foote, we're hearing, well, it has been reported in the media that one of the options that you are exploring is that, or the legal team is exploring, is that for Mr. Coke to waive his rights and be taken directly to the United States. Can you expound on that?
That is an option under in extradition proceedings, but I have no instructions to that effect as yet.
Sir, have you spoken to your client in light of what is happening in the country, the unrest that's happening in the country, and what is he saying?
I cannot comment on that at this stage.
Oh, you're not going to comment on that at this stage?
I cannot comment on that. All I can say, sorry, all I can say at this stage is that tomorrow is a working day. I'll be seeking audience with the Chief Justice in light of what is happening.
All right, sir. Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.
All right.
No.
Now, the U.S. Embassy in Kingston has announced that its consular section will be closed to the public on Tuesday, May 25, 2010. American citizens and other individuals with appointments to apply for passports and non-immigrant and immigrant visas or other routine consular services are being advised not to go to the embassy. The consular section will contact these individuals to reschedule their appointments. American citizens in Jamaica requiring emergency assistance on May 25 should contact the American Citizen Services Unit at 702-6450 or email that office at kingston@state.gov. Okay, so we're going to continue monitoring the developments in West Kingston. Join us again. As we see it fit, we will continue to provide you with updates. So do stay tuned. Pleasant viewing. I'm Janella Precious. Stay tuned.
Kingston from the RFM Newsroom, I am Lanigay Franklin. As tension mounts in the volatile West Kingston area, several bus routes have been cancelled or rerouted. This has resulted in scaled-down operations at the Halfway Tree Transportation Centre. The reduction in both transport and commuters, as highlighted by RFM's on-site reporter Horace Mills, is due to both the flare-up of violence in West Kingston and the fact that today is a holiday.
Operations from the Halfway Tree Transportation Center has significantly scaled down because of the tension in parts of the corporate area. Our news team is now at the center where there are only few buses and a handful of commuters. Commuters have to wait much longer than usual as fewer buses are up and running. The fact that today is a public holiday has influenced the situation, but authorities say the tension in the corporate area is affecting operations most significantly. Zone supervisor at the Halfway Tree Transportation Center, Errol Simpson, says that some persons did not show up for work because of the violence.
You have workers that did not turn up for duty today, and you have a situation emanating from yesterday into today, really downtown situation. And tomorrow, well, back to normal. Tomorrow is a normal working day. Hopefully, if nothing else mushroom, we are up and running tomorrow.
Zone supervisor at the Halfway Tree Transportation Center, Errol Simpson. The violence in Western Kingston and surrounding areas has forced the state-owned bus company to stop operating in downtown Kingston. Reporting from the Halfway Tree Transportation Center for IRFM News, I'm Horace Mills.
The National Blood Transfusion Service Blood Bank is appealing to members of the public to donate blood. This in light of the Health Ministry's activation of Emergency Operations Centre EOC a short while ago. The blood bank is, however, advising persons to donate blood at other locations island-wide. They are to avoid the central blood bank on Slipen Road in Kingston, as no collection of blood will be done at that facility due to the current unrest in the area. The Emergency Operations Centre has been activated in order to respond and monitor the effects of outbreaks of violence on the health sector. The EOCs will also coordinate the Ministry's intervention mechanisms, maintain operations of the Ministry of Health, and securing the safety and welfare of patients and staff. As such, some hospitals in Kingston and the corporate area have been scaled back to only emergency services, and 7 health centres in the Kingston and St Andrew region remain open at this time. Chairman of the Police Federation, Sergeant Raymond Wilson, is appealing for members of the security forces to exercise caution while conducting duties in West Kingston. He says the members are to take all necessary precautions in the face of blatant threats against their lives and their environs. He adds that while police officers have sworn to protect every member of the Jamaican society, they must ensure self-preservation, as this is the only way they will be able to execute their duties timely and professionally. That was an update on the state of emergency and the situation in West Kingston. Major news is next at 5:45 from the IRFM newsroom. I'm Lanigay Franklin.
That was news from IRFM, Jamaica's non-aligned news voice.
civilian oversight team to monitor the emergency powers by the security forces. Mrs. Simpson-Miller says she's ready to consult with the Prime Minister regarding any other proposal regarding the composition of the oversight body. Our news team understands that lawyers representing Christopher Dudus Coke are holding high-level talks with officials of the United States in Kingston. Here's more in this report.
There have been reports that Mr. Coke, who is wanted by the U.S. government on drugs and weapon charges, wants to deal with the Americans. His attorney, Don Foote, has declined to state whether he will be seeking a deal with the Americans. He told our news center that the meeting with the Americans was arranged on Saturday ahead of yesterday's flare-up of violence. Coke, who is 40, was charged last August with conspiracy to distribute marijuana and cocaine and conspiracy to illegally traffic in firearms. If convicted on the narcotics charge, he faces a maximum sentence of life in prison and a mandatory minimum sentence of 10 years in prison, as well as a fine of up to $4 million. He also faces a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison on the firearms trafficking charge and a fine of up to $250,000 or twice the financial gain.
8 policemen were shot, 2 fatally last night, as the violence which earlier rocked downtown Kingston spread to other sections of the corporate area. Here's more in this report.
The story reportedly began here at the Rockford police station in East Kingston. A woman turned up on Sunday night shortly before 11 and reported that she had come under attack along Mountain View Avenue. She was shot. She also said that the